meditation. I know it's like I know it's something to do with meditation.
Okay.
So, or meditation class.
Oh yeah.
Just go through the.
Do you want to be on?
Yeah, we meet up. We basically meet up at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, and we just try to go through like a consistent group meditation. We usually like to talk about other type of spiritual concepts and different tools, stuff like that. Sometimes we'll meet up at the park. We'll do like yoga in the park.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's just a group we're trying
Why
to
don't
go
you come sit
together.
over here if you don't mind?
On the couch?
Yeah. No, just pull your chair
Oh,
over
okay.
there. That way it's more. There we go. Kind of see. Cool.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So, like I don't know. You can tell more if you want.
And
Fine.
so what we're doing right now is basically, it's just like an introduction to the way that we do meditation. There's all sorts of different types of meditation. And obviously, like, the greatest form of meditation is the meditation you have in your daily life. Like how aware are you at any given moment of the day, But this is kind of like a base for, it's like, okay, this is how we reset every week, something that you can take forward,
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So, in essence, I guess what you said you've been meditating. Have you been meditating, or are you just along for the ride, kind of like?
I have not been meditating as often as I should.
Okay, but you already have some inkling of it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And what's your interest in it?
Mainly like it helps me sort of regroup myself whenever I feel that I'm feeling like particularly like stressed out or just like irritated for like no reason or stuff like that. It's like, okay, I need to like regroup and just
Yeah. So you're trying to find your center or find some sort of peace or
Yeah.
some stability.
yes, exactly.
Is what it sounds like. Okay. And for you, what are you seeking? What are you?
Honestly, I don't even know if I've been successfully meditating just because I've been trying different ways. Like, I don't know if you ever heard of a Wim Hof.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know, like the Iceman. So I'm always just trying to really just push my limits and find out. I'm really just trying to, like, I know where this is just our vessel, man, on this dimension, man. And honestly, I'm really just trying to find out. I'm trying to be the best version of myself in all aspects,
Yeah.
So when it comes to meditation, I think it's just something I want to learn because I think it's going to help me, get there as well. I've tried to lucid dream. I've tried to, what is it called? Whenever you astral project,
Okay.
I've done, I've really started, I guess, being more spiritual about 8 months ago. So I really started to just dive deep. I'm a big believer in the law of attraction, law of vibration. I'm saying, I know we're all, everything vibrates. We're all Tauruses, you know what I mean? Like within Tauruses, and it just, I guess like what I want to look like everything and nothing at the same time. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to.
No, that's a perfect answer. I mean, and hopefully you can find some of that here. That's kind of what I try to provide with practicing with people and teaching for the basic level of, like he was saying, laying a foundation up to getting some peace and some stability and some control over your mind as well, and control over your thoughts, to being the best version of yourself. I mean, we go into different practices or different reflections techniques, such as going through your eyes, your personalities, and really starting to dissect yourself and become aware of yourself, become aware of your patterns, become aware of the things that you say, become aware of the things that you do in a more refined level, so that you're not just following the string, so you're not just a robot automating through life every day. That is our base level human existence, is operating as a robot. And we like to think that we have some sort of free will, and we do to an extent, but in another regard we don't. We're very influenced by emotional wants, emotional desires. Who wronged me? Who do I like? Who do I love? How does this person make me feel? Am I hungry? Am I sleepy? Am I irritated because my clothes are too tight? Am I irritated because it's hot and I'm taking it out on my friends. All of that stuff is self-reflection, and it's self-refining when you become aware that it's something that you're doing, when you become aware that it's something that you're allowing to happen versus you taking the control and being the adult kind of to yourself and saying, stop. Stop acting. What are you doing? Why are you saying this? Why are you saying these lies? Why are you just talking sometimes just to hear yourself talk? And I'm just kind of throwing examples out, but all of us have a myriad of different tendencies that we've built up since childhood, since teenagers, adult. All of these things that have occurred in our lives formed and shaped us to be a certain way. And so through doing a meditation, through gathering together in a group and having these conversations, exchanging ideas with one another and seeing where everyone's at and where we've all kind of fell or had successes or whatever it is, we all as a group are able to better help each other refine ourselves, either by calling each other out on our bullshit or, helping lift you up when you're down or celebrating successes with you. They're all tied together. And that's why in my opinion, it's important to have a group because, to give you a little background on me, I spent a lot of my time practicing on my own or with people online, which is nice. At least I had that, but I kind of more or less, I've always been interested in this type of stuff, but I really dove into it in about 2011, and then I've been trying to teach for the last 4 or 5 years. I had relative success with it, more so in the last, I'd say, 3 years versus the first 2, but kind of working out the kinks a little bit and refining what to say and how to approach people and how to try and convey the message and make it to where people understand, which is really the most important thing. Try not to sugarcoat things. I try not to, I try to give you a message that may not be necessarily scientific, but at the end of the day, if you get the idea, you can let that little ball turn into a big ball of snow, and you start to follow that string, and it unravels in you, and it unravels in you, and it starts to form you and shape you into something new, which is what we're kind of all after, I feel like. It's every year we have New Year's resolutions, or every birthday we're going to do something new, or whatever it is, there's always we always are waiting for the next precipice to start our next adventure or our next, encapsulation of what we idealize for ourselves, and then, we kind of fantasize about that when it's really about your daily practice. Like I was saying earlier, it's about finding something that you can stick with that will form you and shape you into a more refined being, into a more enlightened being, let's say, to have greater awakenings or greater amounts of awareness in your daily life. That's kind of what we're after. And so we get into, or try to get into, like I say, everything from the meditation to feeling environments to kind of scanning people or getting a base level of where they're at or what their intentions are for you, to protecting yourself from that energy defense, defending yourself from those types of infiltrations that people have on you. And none of this stuff is that, it takes time. So slower is faster in this approach. And I promise I will condense as much as I can into as little time as I can, and try to still give you as much kind of impact as possible. But you kind of have to understand that it takes reflection, it takes practice, it takes your desire to learn more, it takes you putting in time on your own outside of coming here, say once a week or once every 2 weeks, or with everyone it kind of varies. I try and host it twice a week. It doesn't always work out that way. It doesn't always work out where people show, or then a bunch of people show. But I try and do it no matter what. I don't care if it's one person or 10 people or 20 or whatever. So you have to want to do this. You have to put it into your life. You have to integrate it into your life, and it doesn't take much. What the crazy thing about this, and like you read The Secret, or maybe you've heard like compound effect, or any of those types of things, it's all about putting yourself in the position to reap the benefits. It's like The Secret as an example. If you're trying to manifest wealth into your life, and yet you sit at home all day and you're just, well, I'm going to manifest wealth and it's coming, and you just sit in your room for 2 weeks. It's like, what are the chances that's going to happen? You think you're really going to get some envelope full of money just because you prayed for it? You and 6 billion other people are praying for to win the lottery. So it's like you have to, even in manifestation, you kind of have to. What we get into is learn to refine your manifestation to get the best result, and then of course it's you putting yourself in the position to get that win that you're after, to get whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, a person or money or more spirituality or whatever it is. So from that to astral projection, if you want to get into that, or remote viewing, or just learning about God, or I shouldn't say learning about God, I should say maybe bouncing ideas off of what maybe I might consider God, what you might consider God, he might consider God, and hopefully expanding your thoughts on what that topic means to you, or how that resonates with you. So those are, I try and touch into everything, but of course it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of practice, and there's certain things that I'd like to get into stuff to with people, but you have to put in the effort for me to be able to work with you in that. It's like if I'm trying to do, I don't know, like trying to do remote viewing with you or something like that, we have to have kind of an understanding. You have to build your foundation enough and your knowledge base enough to be able to kind of learn to approach that even. So that's why I say slower is faster. Take your time with it. We're going to go into the basics of the practice that we do here, and how you can apply it, how you can use it. And it's really very simple. And honestly, there's a lot of this that I go into is like the philosophical stuff, and really when you get down to the nitty gritty and you just focus on the physical aspect of the practice, you can have outstanding results. So it's like if you forget everything we talk about, as long as you kind of, and I'll get into this in a bit, but as long as you get the basic foundation of the meditation practice, I pretty much guarantee you'll have results. Yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts? What do you think?
I would like to say like our free will is based on our level of awareness, right? So the greater your awareness is, the greater your free will is. It's like direct correlation between that, 'Cause there's always something going to have an influence on you, but if you are aware of that thing, you might be able to kind of turn the tides and start to have autonomy of your life in that regard.
Right.
It's like it's like in business. Most people, they're not aware of really what it takes to go from, say, a standard 9 to 5 to a self-employed or a business owner, investor. There's that level of awareness, so their free will to operate in that arena is severely limited, until they start to develop awareness, and now they can move more freely. Yeah.
So both of you have a little bit of meditation practice, you said, so you kind of, I try to approach everyone as if they have like nothing, basically. So don't, if I'm boring you or something, as far as I'm talking on something that it's like a lot about, hey, I know about this, So, do y'all know about prana? Do y'all know what prana is? Let's start with that.
I do listen a lot to what's his name? Infinite Waters.
What?
Infinite Waters.
Okay, I've never.
Ralph
So
Smart.
Okay.
Oh no,
He's
he's
always
on,
like,
he's on YouTube.
breathing that good ass prana.
Yeah,
You know that
But you can elaborate. You can elaborate on.
yeah, I will.
guy?
I will. I always do. So I tend to talk a lot, so I'm sorry, but it happens.
I like to
Okay.
I
Good.
like to learn.
Good. Perfect. And we're on the same field there. So prana, how I approach prana, and my personal connection with prana is that it's the life force of the universe. So when I talk about God, for me, God is universe. Universe is God. It's one and the same. I also will refer to it as the Force from Star Wars because it has such, it's one of those things. I'm just getting chills thinking about it because it's one of those words and it's one of those cultural phenomenon that has impacted the collective consciousness enough to where when I say the Force, you kind of have this internal knowing in you of what that is. It's almost like, okay, you kind of probably have felt at different points in your life that kind of consciousness within you saying, you shouldn't do that, or, oh, or maybe you following like the string of positive in your life, and it's like, oh, you kind of get that feeling that you're on the right path, or you just feel a connection to everything, whether it's just having a nice day or through psychedelics or something at some point that you've just felt and immersed yourself in the universe, and it's like you always are looking for that place again. You're always trying to find your way back to it because it's such a harmonious and kind of peaceful and it's just such a good place. It's like a good state of mind. And so for me, the Force is all of that. It's the prana is the Force as well. It's a part of it. It's the life force of this universe. It's the energy. And in much the same way, we'll talk about micro and macro perspectives. Micro being the very small, macro being the very large. In your body, you are a universe, and you are made up of trillions of organisms that all eat and sleep and have sex and defecate and die, and they do all of that without your knowledge, without your influence, but they do have your influence because you are the universe for them. They don't know what you are, but they serve you. And how do they serve you? By doing those things in a lot of ways, yes. It's if you didn't have that gut bacteria that's in your gut, all the variations of it, you wouldn't be able to survive. And they have a whole ecosystem that they have developed and evolved since your birth to where you have a whole, personal ecosystem that is only you. I mean, a lot of us share the same bacteria or whatever you want to call it, but even individually, you have your own that is just you. And they do their own thing. They think that they're just living their life. They have their enemies. They have, say, friends. And I'm kind of elaborating. It's not that they do, but in some ways they do, right? They're not attacking their own on a basic level. They have that at least base level of intelligence that they're not attacking their own kind, or they have friends that are different than them that they attack other, say, negative cells with. And it all responds to your personal force, your own personal life force. That's, people, there's science out now that says that people who are positive tend to have better, are better receptive to the medications that they're taking, such as like people that are undergoing cancer treatment or different treatments. And, there's various degrees of how much influence that has, but there's absolutely studies that say that when they're positive and they're like fighting, that their body reciprocates it better. It's as if, and if they're not, if they're just laying in bed and they're not getting up and they've given up, then the body tends to reciprocate that as well. And that is your own personal life force. And you don't have to think about that all the time. But when you're in a life and death type of situation like that, you kind of are. But right now, it's just there. And it's kind of the same thing with this universe, that we are in this life force. We are being affected by it. We are being affected by the planet as an organism. And I believe the planet is a living organism. It's made up of trillions and trillions of living organisms that make up the totality of it. It's the same as you. It's how is it different? If you start chopping off your hands and your limbs and your eyes and everything, but you can still be alive, are you still you or are you not you anymore? It's like, well, you're still you. It's like, okay, so how is it any different? The difference is the perception. The difference is our mental capabilities to have an understanding that an organism could be completely different than what we want to encapsulate it as. For us, it's this big ball that is like, well, in no way it could think, but that's what your cells think about you in a certain regard. They don't, because they have no relation to what you are. It's kind of like an ant. If an ant is on you, crawling up your arm, it may know you're alive, maybe, especially if you're trying to kill it, but it's not necessarily going to relate anything different from your arm to your head, probably. It's not going to differentiate that. To it, you're just one big mountain. You're just one big warm, gooey, whatever it is you are, but you're trying to kill it, so it's going to bite you. But it can't relate to you, but we can kind of relate to it because we're kind of on the macro looking down on it, or we're observers in this particular vessel. And we have the intellects to be able to do it, thank God. But that is kind of what I visualize as prana. It's the pushing of energy into the nothingness that was our universe, that was just absolute nothingness before the Big Bang. It's the pushing of its force, its energy into nothingness to see what happens, and it's pushing out, and it's prolificating life. It is life in a certain regard, and so it's pushing into this, and it's all over here. It's everything that we exist within. So when you think about God or the universe, or you're being part of the universe, not separate from it, we feel very individual. We don't feel like we're part of the organism of the planet, but we are. And when you start to, when I say breathe in prana, that's kind of the place that you want to be in, is that you're thinking about, say, this positive vibration, this life-giving force, with your eyes. And we use visualization to kind of help get you there, but it's kind of eyes closed. You can kind of visualize just the whole room filled with white light or blue light energy, as long as it's positive, and that you're breathing it in and you're allowing it to merge with you. You're inviting God to become one with you. You're pulling it into to build you into something greater. I kind of believe I remember when I was so young, I don't know, let's say 7 or 8, and I was talking with some kids that lived on my street. They were very Christian neighborhood, and they were like, you haven't accepted Jesus Christ into your heart. You got to accept Jesus Christ into your heart. So I sat there with them and praying, I accept Jesus into my heart, and whatever the heck else they had to say, or had me say. And then I was like, okay, I'm done, so I can go to heaven now. They're like, yeah, you can go to heaven now. I was like, cool, I'm in the club, all right. But I think there is truth in that, and that's why I bring it up, because reflecting back on that, I feel like what we do here, and I shouldn't say that, but I feel like what we do here is maybe a more personal version of kind of that practice, and you're integrating it into your life daily. You're not just saying it once and, all right, well, I'm saved, or I have to say my confession, and I get to go to heaven, whatever, and I'm being blasé about it. Some people put more effort into it and more consciousness into it. There's definitely some merit to it, but this is a personal practice of you acknowledging God, acknowledging the universe, and inviting it into you. It does not want to approach you if it thinks it's going to scare you or hurt you or make you feel bad or make you feel any kind of way at all. It wants to be invited. God is not a matter of distance. It's not a matter of having to go into the stars or go past the universe. It's a matter of approaching it here and now. We're all within God right now, and it's you that has to step forward and say, I want you in my life. I want to integrate you into my life. Build me greater, and I will serve you. And when you approach it in that way, it will build you, and you'll change. You will. So that's kind of what I mean when I say prana, and that was a very elaborated version of it. I usually don't go into that much detail, but yeah. So let's get into next. Any thoughts?
I liked your explanation.
Yeah, I'm like if anybody, I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. You know what I mean? Or if I am like, like if somebody talk like depending like when I talk to my grandma,
Mm-hmm.
like I just like the same way she'll talk about God. Like I'll talk about I'll talk about the universe. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, instead of telling her like, oh yeah, but but I'll switch up the universe for God just because I'm talking to her. Just
Of course.
But the universe is God. God is the universe. Like we are, or I feel like we are gods. You know what I mean? Just like you said, like because we have. I've been doing a lot of research. I'm just ready to implement it.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of research. I'm just ready to implement it.
Yeah. Good.
I used to do that a lot too. Like, I used to talk to my parents when I first became like kind of aware of this type of stuff. I was like so excited. It's like, oh man, I might offend them, because they're like really like devout Catholics.
Yeah.
So I would just literally whatever I would just like translate it to Catholic talk, but it'd be pretty much the same thing. I would just like translate it. They'd be like, oh yeah, you're right, yeah. And then, but really I was like telling them concepts.
Shabbat!
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That was like a secret, It was really like Buddhist concepts or something like that, But I would just translate it to Catholic talk, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's true." And then finally one day I was like, I've been talking about Buddhism this whole time. Y'all didn't know.
Snap
So,
Buddha in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it all started with the psychedelic.
Mhm.
No, honestly, it started off with somebody told me about the law of attraction, and then that's kind of what took me down a rabbit hole, and then I guess that attracted other, because you are what like we're just magnets, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like what we get put out to the universe is what we're gonna get in return. So I've been able to attract luckily some pretty amazing people, you know what I mean? Like it's like in my life, I mean, I feel like these two people are amazing. I feel like they're in my life for a reason. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You should hear this guy talk, man. He's a hype man.
I hear him. Yeah, I can tell. That's good. That's what we need. Seriously, no, I love it, man. So, again, what is meditation? Y'all have had your own personal thing. Everyone kind of seeks meditation in their own way, whether it's through kind of cleaning or doing art or doing like different hobbies. You're looking for kind of that zone where you're not thinking about your personal bullshit that's everyday life, right? You want that moment's peace, that moment of just separation from everything. And most people approach meditation as in they have to just sit there and try and be quiet and have absolutely no thought in their mind, and then they don't achieve that, or they don't achieve that quickly or as quickly as they think they should, and so they usually give up. And the approach that we take here is you have this babbler in your head, you have this thoughts that are constantly going. And it's like if I told you to just sit in silence for a minute, could you do it? And I would say, if you said yes, I'd say you're a liar, because you're just not going to be able to do it. You're gonna sit there in silence, and then it's like, the dishes, or this fight I had, or God, I should have done better at work today, or whatever the hell else it is that your brain decides to pop into your head to just think about. The shit from 3 years ago, Christmas from 3 years ago, and you got a shitty gift or something. It's like, why the hell am I thinking of this? Just random crap. So what you want to do is to not, of course, give that much thought. Try not to give that much of your attention. You don't allow it to be a negative or a positive or anything. You notice that your mind is drifting, and you take it back. You take it back to your focus. Okay, I'm here again. No, back to my focus. No, I'm here again. Back to my focus. And so you're doing a wax on, wax off type of process. And so with this particular type of meditation, I'll get into the chakra points in a little bit. Y'all know about chakra points?
I've been looking into it, but I don't.
Okay.
I'm not very
Perfect. That's actually much better, quite honestly. It makes it a lot easier, and I'm not going to get into the chakra points like I did the prana, okay? I'm going to get into them very briefly. There's thousands of chakra points all over the body. There's what you've probably seen in yoga studios or whatever. You've seen the circles going up and down the spine. So there's 7 chakra points that go up and down the body. You have your base or your sacral chakra, I think is what it's called.
Root
Which is
is like very, very long.
your root, okay,
Yeah.
the root, which is basically like your groin area. Then you have your
Then
lower
sacral.
or your cheek. Oh, then sacral.
Then sacral.
Okay, I always miss root. Okay,
Yeah.
so your root, I guess, is like
Yeah.
below you then, right?
Well,
Or it's like
it's
right.
at the bottom of your groin.
Okay,
basically.
bottom of the groin, then the sacral
So
is the
sure.
groin, then
Solar
Sure.
plexus. Yeah, 100%.
1, 2,
100% sure.
3, 4,
Solar
5,
plexus,
6,
heart,
7. Now
Throat, third eye, crown. Yeah, 7.
1,
Root.
2,
Sacral, solar
3,
plexus,
4,
heart,
5,
throat.
6, 7. Okay, whatever. Anyways, we only focus on 3 chakra points in this meditation. That's all you really need to do for, you don't need to worry about the other ones, okay? And the reason being is that your energy is moving up through your body. And you already focus a lot on your groin area. So you're already giving that a lot of attention. Male, female, I don't care, you're thinking about sex. So your mental energy is going there a lot. So you don't need to think about it more. Your chi chakra is your grounding chakra. This is what centers you. This is what kind of stabilizes you. If you're having like a tough time at work, or people are like, you know, kind of impeding on your space or on your kind of mental capacity, come here. What I mean by come here is bring your consciousness to this chakra point, about 1 inch below your navel, kind of in your body. And if you're having a difficult time, just touch it. And that's actually what we do in the meditation as well. In the meditation, you're going to physically touch the chakra point, and you're going to just focus on the feeling of the touch. That's all you have to do. Just focus on that touch. Your mind wanders, you come back to the touch. Mind wanders, you come back to the touch. Come back to the touch. I'm going to tell you as you're going through, breathe in prana. You're kind of more or less visualizing prana moving into there. But really, your intention is known. Your intention is that you're drawing prana into that. And that the deeper you focus, the more prana will be drawn to you. So you don't have to think about, okay, I'm bringing prana into me, or I'm bringing it in, or breathing it in and bringing it in. You can kind of use that as like a booster, like especially like, I don't know, if you get distracted, okay, and you're kind of more intentionally thinking about the prana and drawing it in. But then just go back to the touch. Just focus on the touch, focus on the touch, focus on the touch. And honestly, I've been practicing this meditation, like I said, for almost 10 years now, and I still find so many revelations from this practice that are applicable in so many different arenas that we go into that it's uncanny. It trains you on so many different levels that you just have no idea. It is training you to do energy movements. It's training you to focus. It's training you to work with energy, to build your causal force. And it's also training you how to keep your mind stable when you're approaching other things. Again, if you are distracted, you come to your lower, you're able to kind of better manage other people's influences and intention. Hey.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. Is anybody on?
No, I just have the video going.
This is Renee.
Leandra.
Hi.
Really good.
Hey, Vincent.
Let's see here.
Am I in the way?
Maybe.
Is this still on?
Yeah, it's still
Oh,
on.
okay. There you go.
Come over here so we can see you. You can be right close to me. All right. How you doing?
Yeah.
So I'm still going over the intro a little bit with them, but I'm mostly through it. So then we'll get into some other stuff depending on how they feel.
Have you ever been before? First time. Okay. And you? Too?
Yeah, first time.
So, we'll focus on the lower first, and we come to the heart chakra, middle of your chest. And again, you're going to touch it, and you're bringing your consciousness there. It's like, how do I explain this a little bit better? Is if I told you right now to think about your left shoulder, can you kind of feel your left shoulder? Kind of have a sense of awareness there. And if I told you to think about like your right kneecap, you can kind of feel your right kneecap. You kind of feel the hardness of it. It feels a little different than your thigh, right? Or if I tell you to think about your foot, say your left foot, how does your foot feel? Can you feel your shoes on your foot? Can you feel the sock on your foot? Can you feel a difference between the top of your foot and the bottom of your foot? Do you guys kind of get a sense of that? Are you able to kind of feel those things? So that right there is very basic energy movements. You're moving energy through your body right now when you're doing that because you're moving your consciousness to these different points. What is consciousness? It's energy. It's thought. Your thought is energy. So that is where you want to be. So when I say think about your lower chakra, that's what you're doing. You're bringing your consciousness to that point. When I say think about your heart, you're bringing your consciousness to your heart. You're feeling from that place. And again, focus on the touch. That's all you have to remember. Focus on the touch. Focus on the touch. You'll get results. And we do the mind chakra, which is about the middle of your forehead or the pineal gland. So you kind of want to envision like through your skull a little bit, kind of like the middle of your brain. And again, you're bringing your conscious attention there, but you're also using the touch to help you there. And again, the actual physical aspect of it is creating an arc of energy just on its own, because when you touch something, your nerves are sending electrical signals to your brain through this arm to give you a signal that you're feeling something. And also here as well, if I touch my arm, I'm getting signals going up this way to give me a sensation of what's going on. So you're changing your electrical energy in your body just by doing this anyways. And then you're matching it with your conscious thought. And you're matching it with your intention of drawing prana in, of connecting to the universe. So all these things have been thought of and built into this system to maximize your results in a minimal amount of time. People that practice other systems, they tend to get muddied up in stuff and muddied up in all the other fancy whatevers, and they don't have the experiences that we have here. Well, I shouldn't say here, but say through this type of practice, but of course here as well. So, and if your arm gets tired, like if you're holding it here and your arm gets tired, just set it down. Don't give it any extra attention. You can switch. Okay. The idea is that you build up, right? So you're here, and then you would see, okay, can I take my arm off and still feel a sensation there? It's like, okay, I got 15 seconds. Okay, no, I need to come back to it. So you can also keep your hands in your lap and focus on those points. But for now, for the beginning and for a while, I really recommend you stick with actually touching the point for as long as kind of necessary, as long as possible. Give it a good 3 months or so, please. I still do it. I still do the touch. Maybe I don't do it so much, but usually at least to get me started, I go there and get a feeling of it, but then I can hold my consciousness there. It's like I'm talking to you guys right now, but I'm in my lower chakra. That's what I'm wanting to train you to do, is to be able to hold yourself steady when you're in public setting. So you can be walking through a mall, but you're really in your center here, and you're drawing your energy, and you're not letting your energy flail about and touch everything. So we practice with music. Again, the reason we use music is it kind of helps your mental babbler, gives it something to kind of chew on, and it also, again, trains you to learn to do this in public. If you can do it with music going on, well, then you can go to a park and you cannot be distracted by the kids playing and people talking or whatever. So you, again, slower is faster. You want to try to allow things to happen. You can't force this. It's about surrendering and letting go and kind of just being okay with the moment, coming into the moment, being aware of the moment, feeling yourself. It's like we were talking about awareness earlier, right? And trying to get more awareness. And I ask you, how aware are you right now? Have you been aware of your bodies since you've been here? Have you been aware of the clothing on your skin? Have you been aware of how you're sitting in the chair? The weight of your body pushing down against the chair? Or where have you been? So that's the type of thinking that you start to develop, is awareness and reflection techniques, and you're building your prana energy, you're building your prana body so that you can evolve your consciousness to understand things deeper and to take it to beyond what your kind of brain capacity is able to do, because there's a bit of a difference between your mind and your brain. Your mind can go beyond what the brain can, and it can't always retranslate back into the brain, but you never necessarily lose the data. It's just hard to explain it to somebody. But you need to develop your consciousness, your energy body, so that you can ascend to these kind of higher types of thought. And what tends to happen is that we'll talk about something one day, and we'll talk about a different technique or a different topic the other day, and then I'll send you some videos or something to listen to, or podcasts, and if you so decide you want to continue this anyways, and you'll hear something a different way. And what happens is it's like you have all these little things, these ideas working in your subconscious, and you don't even necessarily realize it. This type of knowledge unfurls within you. It doesn't stay stagnant. It is living inside of you, and it is going to change you. I guarantee you it will change you. It's up to you to put in the effort and the dedication to do it, but if you put it into practice, you will change, and you will evolve, and you will evolve faster than your friends. You will be different, and I think for the better. But some people may not see it that way because they want to encapsulate you as to who you are now. They don't want you to change. They don't want you to be something better. They want you to stay right where you are. Yeah, so what I was saying was the idea is, so it's interesting because they'll be working in your subconscious, and then you'll hear something else, somebody will say something randomly to you, and you're just going to have these like kind of holy shit moments where everything, all the kind of gears fit together all of a sudden, and you're just like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? Like, yeah, it'll happen. I don't know. Have you had those kinds of experiences?
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
There's a few.
You too?
It's been a while, but
Yeah. Okay. Good. Then I'm not lying.
Is anyone else showing up?
Well, that was Andrew.
Oh.
I don't know. Any thoughts, questions, anything so far? I tend to talk a lot.
So I like the way you explain and as you're explaining things, I'm just like, I've been thinking about these sort of things, And it's just interesting that now that I've been exploring these topics, the amount of people that actually think about the same thing in a way.
Like a lot.
Yeah, where I'm just like, oh my god, you believe that too,
Right.
So it's interesting, and I love learning.
Oh, hey, what's up, Andrew? There you go.
Perfect.
I don't even know what the heck's going on there.
Yeah, it's just like
Maybe.
hearing everyone's perspective.
That's part of the whole law of vibration, law of attraction. It's like the more you yourself get into it, the more you start to see it pop up. It's like the whole when you buy a white car, then you start seeing white cars everywhere. It's like exactly the same.
Absolutely.
It's a good thing though.
Well, and the more you immerse yourself in this, the more it starts to become your prime personality, let's say, or your prime direction, or that's not really the word I'm looking for. It becomes more of the forefront of your thoughts and your personality versus whoever it is that you're usually letting run the show. And it's kind of like if you're always in a group that does bad crap, you're probably going to do it too, or the birds of a feather flock together kind of thing. That the more, and the same, but it could be the same with knowledge. It could be the same with if you're always watching Fox News, you're going to have those opinions. If you're always watching CNN, you're always going to have those opinions. If you're always listening to NPR, you're always going to have those opinions. There's little bubbles that tend to occur, and you can kind of get encapsulated.
The whole world is trying to basically match you to a particular vibration.
Well, and
I was just going to say that
Yeah.
whatever vibration you're on is the vibration that everybody else around you
Yeah.
resonate with.
and the thing is that you have bubbles within yourself as well, and so that is the self-reflection and the refining of your personal character, so that you can withstand all the outside influences. Again, that's why it helps to have a group that we feed off of each other, we grow with each other, we lift each other's boats when we're down, because you're not always going to have highs, you're going to have lows. And anyone that is thinking they're some spiritual master or whatever that espouses that they don't have lows or that they don't take shit is lying to you, straight up. And, I didn't say this at the beginning, but, you guys, you don't have to take anything I say as fact, okay? In fact, I don't necessarily want you to. I'd much rather you take it for what it is, try it out, see if it works for you, see if it resonates with you, and throw out what doesn't, okay? I'm also on a journey myself. I'm still learning. I'm constantly learning. I try and learn as much as I can, and I try to help others kind of find the light if I can help in some kind of way. So, but you don't have to take anything I say as fact, okay? But do try it, because it does have really good results for, I'd say, 95% of the people that come here, and all the people that practice, that I've been practicing through. So the school I learned through is Higher Balance, and I'll send y'all, they have videos online and stuff too, and I definitely recommend you listen to them. It's good shit. So let's take a little break. If y'all need to go to the bathroom, can you go to the bathroom? Yeah? Y'all want some water or something?
Oh, yes, please.
It's Tuesday, right?
Yes.
So just I guess.
That's a good Tuesday. I had a good Tuesday today. Yeah.
It's been fun. Where'd you guys get your bonnet? This class.
Oh,
Through class.
yeah.
How long have you? For a while, but it's off and on, so I'm trying to get back. Thank you. On. But I'd say, I don't know, 2015. Oh, wow. Is that right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. You feel like it's helped you a lot. It helps me stay on track.
Yeah, so actually, a lot of the people that come have been coming for 2 or 3 years or so. Coming 3 years, I want to say.
Yeah. I've been doing meditation since like 2015.
Yeah, you were doing your own thing
I went to that. Did you come with us? Did you come with us to the Zen Center?
No, you did not.
There's like a lot of people there. Did you hear about that? Like,
To the
yeah, I invited her to a meditation at the Zen Center. It was like a quick workshop, and then she brought like the whole team.
Yeah.
If y'all need to use the bathroom, it's the first door.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. A lot of the teams interested.
Oh really? We
Yeah.
got the last day kind of just passed. Remember?
Oh yes, I
Oh,
think
there we go again.
yeah.
We got there. We got some.
Got it.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Yeah.
Things have been, I guess, as planned.
Right. Yeah, I like going there. I mean, it's definitely more traditional.
We were talking
over there,
about,
which is great.
time
There's a lot of
Yes.
like everyone went to their 7-day retreat. It's
Okay.
like no fun, no nothing, no talking for 7 days. Yeah.
No, but
it's really crazy because I'm like freaking out the first like maybe 2.5 days.
So after
I'm gonna miss a phone call, like business is gonna call me. I'm gonna, right? You start
Yeah.
freaking out, but then after maybe the 3rd day, it's just like forget about it. It's like, oh shoot, it's like it's just in your head. And then after I get out, I look at my phone. It's like no one even really contacted me. It's like, oh shoot, I was just freaking out for nothing.
I would like to try that. That's good. I don't know how long it's gonna get away until they make.
Yeah, that's
So I imagine that.
yeah. Because sometimes like even if everyone has like a different method of resting. But sometimes even if you think you're resting, but you're not resting, you're not really resting. You don't get rest. Even if you think you are. Like sometimes I like to veg out, but that makes it worse. Like veg out with like television or whatever
Yeah.
shows or something like that. It makes it worse for me. Even though I think I'm relaxing, I'm a lot more aware now. I realize like human interaction, just like being in nature, it's like way more restful than binging television.
Yes.
Which I've been trying to stay away from. Do you watch a lot? I feel like you don't watch a lot of television.
I don't watch TV at all.
Right.
Unless it's football.
Oh shoot. Well, that's a lot, isn't it? When the season starts.
Even then, like I probably won't even watch. I'm still missing
Fair.
games. The only TV I watch is IMO TV.
What?
IMO TV.
I don't know.
That's
it's
the
'cause-
trading, forex
yeah.
trading.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, it's because I'm an investor. I'm like, I'm always just trying to learn and get better at my craft as well.
Yeah, I told Alex a little bit about it. 'Cause we're trying to set up. I told both of y'all about it. Like we're trying to, eventually set up our own little education, like learning retreat center type of thing.
Okay.
Won't
Well,
require
let's
much.
get back into this. Wrap this up, I guess. So let me make sure I hit on the major points. Hit on prana, hit on the touch, what meditation is, what it can do for you. You kind of want to want for nothing. You're after something that you don't. I don't know.
Alex knows that.
Oh, it's one. Okay. So you're after something that you don't really know what you're after. You're after something new. You're after something that you've never experienced before. And when you put conditions on meditation, on what type of experience you should have, or that you should be out in outer space, or that you should be floating, or that I'm exaggerating, but whatever expectations you have, you want to try your best to kind of put those aside and approach every single meditation as if it's first, as if you don't have any expectation, as if you're just going into it just completely open to whatever happens. And when things start to happen, and they will, maybe not today, but as you develop, you'll come across different experiences, and kind of some normal experiences will be maybe feeling outside of your body, maybe feeling bigger or smaller than your body, maybe like you're moving side to side, maybe some flashing, or colors, or different kinds of visuals. those are all pretty typical experiences, and you really want to try your best to even not let those distract you, to kind of allow them to unfurl and observe without judgment. And what I mean by that is you're kind of in the experience, and you're not wondering if the flashing lights was, something in the room or somebody flicking off and on the lights. You're just observing and just, okay, I'm here and let's let it happen. It's kind of like when you're in a dream. You mentioned lucid dreaming before, and I don't know if you've had any success with it or not, but in lucid dreaming, or when you start to be in a lucid dream, you can, the more you try to exert your control, the more you try to make major changes to what's happening in the dream, the more you start to wake up and the more that the dream starts to dissipate. You have to almost approach it with a light touch. It's like you're there and you're aware in the dream, but if you try to make crazy things happen, it destabilizes the environment and the program kind of, and you wake up. So you have to kind of allow it to do its thing, but then you make small influences. And you're kind of doing it, and the interesting thing about lucid dreaming is you're kind of doing it from a non-thought state of mind. So wanting for nothing, not having expectations, those are two pretty big keys. Trying to observe without judging, and then after the experience, analyze it, judge it, reflect on it. In the experience, try to let it happen. Music, touch. I don't know. Did I hit most of the points that you can think of? Okay. How are y'all feeling? Y'all okay?
Great.
You ready?
Accepting of all the appointments.
So Andrew had a question, which was, what is time stepping? Right? That was the basic question, I guess, because Andrew, we were talking about this last week. Do you want to give your take on time stepping, Andrew?
I guess my take on time stepping would be reflecting on things that might have happened things that happened in your past life that may have given you some type of I guess solving old issues, going back in time in your own memories and putting in better. I don't know how to word this, Alex. I'm trying to.
That's why I put you on the spot.
I was better describing this when I was talking to you last time.
Well, you gotta be on the spot, buddy.
I know. So I see it as going back through what times may have been hard or have been holding me back. Like, say somebody said something bad, something to me, and I took it the wrong way. Well, maybe it's I just took it as a different aspect in my add saying that maybe that making bad memories good memories, so to speak, that way to where it won't affect me in the now.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's a better way to say it.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. So I'll expand on it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So time stepping in a certain regard is exactly like you said. One is working on issues in your past, and this is advanced kind of stuff, but so don't. And when I say advanced, I just mean it's not that you're not going to understand it. Just don't worry about trying to practice this right away. But it does give you a good kind of indication of where you can take things. So, like you said, something negative happened in your past that maybe caused or trauma, or that continues to influence you in a negative way, or influence your consciousness in a negative way. Do you mind muting, Andrew?
Yeah.
And what you would do is you would sit down and clear your mind, and you would approach this topic in your mind as if you're kind of viewing it like a movie, let's say, or maybe not like a movie so much as it is maybe like a first-person kind of a movie. And what you're doing is you're recreating the event in your mind so that it has a positive outcome for you. And it doesn't have to be major, but you want it to be that you came out of the event as a more empowered person, as somebody that, say, resolved it, or contended with the issue, or stood up for yourself, or whatever the case may be, versus whatever happened. And what that can do is it can actually rewire your brain to have a better, not understanding, but a better relationship with the issue, and it can change kind of how your neural pathways associate to those types of scenarios that are affecting you now. And there's a video that I'll maybe send you guys, or have Chris send you guys, where science is talking about time. Well, Einstein talked about time as well, and that time is not linear. That the past is actually influencing the future is actually influencing the present is influencing the past, the present is of course influencing the future, but all of these different points in time can influence one another. And so the idea is that you're kind of using that and affecting reality on, say, the quantum level of thought, of energy, of consciousness. And when you do this and you, say, take it a couple times, you're going, let's say, through the same scenario, again, you start to empower yourself. You start to change who you are now by changing who you were then, how you responded to that situation then. And it's not that you forget what happened. It's that your association to the event has changed. And so that way you've resolved it within yourself and can, again, be a more empowered person. That's a very, 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 very short encapsulation of what time stepping is. I'm not going to get into the whole technique today because it would take a couple hours.
So you're not necessarily changing the event, just like the way you saw it, or maybe trying to find something. It's like, wait, maybe you felt defeated at the time, but then now you're like, no, it's like I made it through that.
Right. I mean, as an example, you could say like, not to bring up something so negative, but let's say like an abusive family member or something like that, and that instead of responding this way, you were able to respond in a more empowered way. That you told them no, or you told them, I'm not going to take this anymore, and that, they responded in kind as well. And so you're kind of changing the event a little bit. Now, to take it another step further, you can also, again, influence, you can learn to use this as a tool to affect the present and the future and the future and the present by starting to send notes back to yourself. So let's say you had something happen to you last week, or especially blips where you've caught on to something, or something has spoken to you and you made a decision that you don't know why you made the decision. It was just like something happened, like a pack of chips fell off the shelf, and for whatever reason that triggered you to stop, and then you saw this and you won a lottery or something. Why did that happen? Or what triggered you to stop and look at something for another second longer? You can become your own guardian angel, and that is to say that is a little blip of a moment in time that you can now say a week from now, go into your mind state approach yourself in that place again and influence that with that emotion of, hey, me, stop, look at this. Over here. Boom, you're completing that loop. The more you do that, the more you practice with that, the better your results can be for how you influence yourself. So that's another way that you can utilize time set. Yeah. Which gets me to another point, which I'm glad we talked about it, because I should have mentioned this before. Well, how are we on time? What time is it?
9:04.
Okay, so I'll go on for a little minute more, because this is important. One of the key things that will progress you in this meditation and in your, say, metaphysical practice, whatever you want to call it, of, say, feeling people out, feeling a room out, is what we call your feels like knowledge, your language center for the universe. It's your emotional intelligence. It's in your chest center, your gut center kind of thing. It's, I had a knowing that I shouldn't have done that, right? We've all had that kind of gut feeling, right? Or I had a feeling that that guy was a bad guy. How did you know? Was he ugly? No, he looked good. He just felt like a creep, right? I'm sure y'all have had something like that. Yeah? No? Maybe? Okay, good. I don't know if you've had a creepy guy. Or, people pick up, regular people pick up on this all the time. That place just had a bad vibe. I didn't like the way the place felt. What do you mean you didn't like? What does that mean? Nobody ever asked them, what do they mean? They all know what they meant, but they don't know what they meant, right? It's like, it's there, and it's just there enough that it's bypassed by everybody. And so what it is it's your emotional intelligence, your empath ability, or how you're able to read people or pick up on cues. We're constantly exchanging data with each other. We're constantly exchanging vibrations. You're picking up on everything. You're picking up on the environment, on the people, their intentions. Now, what you don't know necessarily, let's say their intentions, you maybe just feel like it's a creepy guy. You don't know if he's trying to kill you or kidnap you, or maybe he just wants your number, but he's creepy, right? Or he's just kind of a basement dweller. I don't know. But all those have differentiate. Like, even when we're talking about them, it's like, well, those are all different variations of, say, levels of creep. But your internal knowing only knows that it's creepy. I don't know why, but get the hell away, right? You don't have to know why. You just know, get the hell away. You don't have to know that this alley feels like a bad alley, or this neighborhood feels like a bad neighborhood. We don't have claws, we don't have like sharp objects to defend ourselves, say primitively speaking, or we have sharp objects, but we don't have anything physically. So we had to use our emotional intelligence, our kind of psychic development to feel areas out. Does this person want to, slash my throat, or is there something around the corner, or we're using that feeling to interpret our environment, and we've lost that more as we've developed the technology, because we don't have to be worried about so much anymore, right? We have our worries, but it's nowhere near what primitive man had. So there's an emotional language, and this emotional, we were talking about vibration, that is what you're after. That is your broadcast, how you are perceived by people, and feels like is an incredibly important piece of this puzzle. And so when we go to the heart chakra, I'm going to tell you to smile. So I want you to smile, like you don't have to hurt yourself, smile, but you want to smile, okay? And a genuine smile. You want to feel love, invoke the feeling of love, of joy, of like somebody, like a grandmother's hug or something like that. How does that feel? Or maybe you don't have a good relationship with your grandmother. Whoever you have a good relationship with, that's just like the best hug in the world. How does that make you feel when you think about it in your mind? It probably feels different than if you think about hugging me, right? It feels a bit different. Or if you think about, hugging the dog, it feels different, right? It's like you could think about these different scenarios. Or if you, hug the chair, right? It feels weird. It doesn't feel like a person. It has a different vibration to it. Everything has a feeling. Everything has a feels like the glass of water has a feeling, right? You can kind of get a sense of the weight of it. You can get a sense of the temperature of it. Like if you were to, in your mind, rub your face on it, you could probably feel how the glass feels. You could feel, all of that is data. It's all information. It's a certain feeling. And it feels different than, like that rhino or whatever. It feels different than the wall. And the room has a feeling to it as well. Doesn't this room feel different than your bathroom? If you imagine yourself standing in your bathroom, it has a certain feeling. If you imagine yourself standing in your bathroom with the lights off in the dark, that has a certain feeling. So all of these things are tags. They're emotional language. You can learn to broadcast this. You can learn to project this into somebody or into an environment or even just to yourself. Just projecting, that's what we try to do in the heart chakra meditation, or you can do it, we can expand on it even more too, taking the time. Projecting love to every cell in your body. Like, when is the last time you really deeply told your body, hey, I love you? But feel it, emote it. How does that feel? How would it feel to give every cell in your universe a hug? A deep, meaningful hug. How would your body reciprocate it? So feels like is really important. And I could get into a whole class about that, quite honestly. I could probably go on for about an hour or more probably into that particular topic. But I think that's enough for the right now. I don't know. Any thoughts?
I personally I know exactly when my emotional intelligence center, I guess, is cut off or stunted or something like that, and then when it's back on, stuff just starts to happen, naturally.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can just feel it, it's nice, and I don't know. I feel like for me that's the one thing that I want to work on more. It's something that's obtainable for me. Maybe I definitely have a natural empathic ability, but it's things in life just kind of cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it's very important.
Well, yeah, I mean that aspect is important, but still the difficulty that you're having there is the difficulty that everyone has, and it's the struggle to awaken. It's the struggle to, you're in a fight for your spiritual survival. Everything about this world is designed to keep you in its mechanism, it wants you as part of its organism. That's the base level of what we are supposed to be. We are Earth intelligence. We are the Earth's highest form of consciousness. Where did we evolve from? We evolved out of the Earth. It is our birth. We're not different from it. We just feel different. We feel individual. But we are a collective of the highest form of intelligence on this planet. And it does not want you to escape that mechanism. It wants you to be a part of it. Just like you don't want your blood cells or your organisms in your body necessarily to escape from you, because you'd start dying, right? Your total existence would start to cease to be if too many got out of this matrix. And what is meditation? It is stepping outside of the matrix. It is what the hell are these little bots doing just sitting and being silent? They're not supposed to just sit and be silent. They're supposed to be running the machine. They're supposed to be doing their program. They're supposed to be eating and mating and working their job and doing all these things. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Why are they just sitting there? That is you blipping out of this matrix for just a moment of your day. It's you separating from it. And it will start to recognize you in a good way. It'll start to see you as something more than what you are. And the more that you allow yourself to become that now and discipline yourself to immerse yourself in this type of stuff, the more it will recognize that that is what you are, and it will accept you to be able to do that, and you'll be able to achieve greater and greater things because you're not so constrained by its programming anymore, because you have freed your mind to go beyond it. You freed your mind to relate to yourself in a different way. That's the bitch about it, is how do you relate to yourself? How do you view yourself? It's that whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And there's a lot of truth in that.
Could you also say, like, using a similar metaphor with the Matrix, when you start to do that, the agents also come after you too.
Absolutely, 100%.
On a harder level.
100%. It happens. It absolutely happens. And what will tend to happen, again, if you start to develop this practice, people are going to either notice you change, or they're going to come out the woodwork from your past, say, hey, what are you up to these days? Or, remember when we used to do this, that, or the other? Or, and they're going to try to draw you back in. They're trying to suck you back in. It's not quite like the Matrix, because there's not agents chasing you down with guns. It's more like, hey, I need you to work an extra couple hours today. And then, oh shit, well, now I worked till 10 and I'm tired, so I'm not going to do my meditation. I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and it's, oh, hey, shit, I got a flat tire. Yeah. And then it's, okay, well, I put it off again. And it's the same with like working out. Working out's always such a good analogy for the meditation, because it's like, it's usually a slow process that you don't realize that all of a sudden a month has gone by and you don't know where you've been. You've lost a month. You've lost a year. You've lost 5 years. Where have you been? And so it's a struggle. It's an absolute struggle. And yeah, that's why I was saying that it will start to accept you at different levels, because as you kind of accelerate, or you excel, things will start to happen, but positive things will happen as well. And I think the positive really outweighs the negative. And that's to say that you can overcome any challenge that is put in front of you. And sometimes the challenges are what really make you and define you and refine you into somebody better. And you think that it's something negative now, but in truth, it's what you really needed. You needed to overcome, even though it sucks. So yeah. Cool. So we're going to get into the meditation. So we're going to do a 5-track meditation. The first track is going to be for kind of relaxing, letting yourself unwind a little bit, letting your mind and I'm going to walk y'all through the whole process. But I'm just giving you kind of the groundwork so you kind of know where we're heading. Then the second track will be the lower chakra. The third track will be the heart. The fourth track will be the mind. And the last track will be for you to just kind of feel how you feel, let yourself kind of just be, and let yourself drift. And then we bow out, and you can bow however's comfortable for you. Whatever, bow all the way down, whatever you like. Essentially, you're just bowing to God, the universe, kind of in humbleness and in gratitude for being alive, even whatever comes to mind, being present, being just whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, Andrew, I guess I'll send you a playlist, and you just do it on your own time or whatever. And yeah. So, thanks for joining us, buddy.
What does he do again?
Huh?
What does he do? He works like late nights at a warehouse, like a factory.
He works in a
Was there anyone watching there? Are you just recording?
No, I'm just recording.